Welcome to the question and responses on reflux, hiatal hernia, GERD, indigestion. And please like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us grow and spread this life-saving, vital information. Let's get into the questions. Question 1 from Danza. Why does the weight just come, why doesn't the weight just come off of me like it does everyone else? Easy. Okay, and this is super huge. The cortisol. Cortisol puts weight in the belly, seat, and thighs, but cortisol is excreted under stress. And there's only 3. There's physical, chemical, and emotional stress. Long-term cortisol will help to store those nutrients you're taking in the belly, seat, and thighs. So when you look at that weight distribution, that is absolutely a stress response. So address the underlying stressors. Physical stress, get a static and stress x-rays of the entire structure, because that spine holds the nervous system that controls everything. And then you look at the chemical stressors. This is going to be poor nutrients, medications, poor sleep patterns are all chemical stressors. And then look at emotional stressors. When you're addressing the physical, chemical, and emotional stress, then your cortisol excretion will go down, because this is an intelligent response by the body. And this is stuff that you cannot diet away. Question 2 from Kathy Jennings. Can you tell us the good and the bad of synthetic B vitamins that can cause nerve damages? And is vitamin B6 a digestive helper? When you look at this, B vitamins, okay, a lot of them are produced in the gut bacteria, but you get great food sources, healthy animal products like healthy organ meats, healthy beef, healthy salmon, not the farm-raised, wild-caught. And when you're looking at dark green leafy vegetables, fantastically good for you. I always recommend food sources for vitamins and then build the gut bacteria. I'm not a fan of synthetic vitamins at all. Particularly when you're looking at vitamin B12, you need intrinsic factors secreted by the stomach. So if you're under stress, your body isn't going to excrete that intrinsic factor. And look for real whole foods. Processed foods, packaged foods, they remove the metabolic and digestive enzymes in order to give it a longer shelf life. So real whole food. I always tell people, your diet should be like your great-great-great-grandparents, okay? Why? Because they only ate organic, they ate whole foods, they ate healthy, they ate free range. They didn't eat the processed, packaged foods. And then you're going to have healthy digestion. But build the gut flora, get probiotics, prebiotics, fermented foods. It's going to be fantastically good for you. Because those synthetic vitamins, there's not, in real food, there's bioflavonoids, phytonutrients. Every time you get a food with a different color, it's got different phytonutrients. There's magic in real food. And that's what your diet should be. And that's what your hunter-gatherer body is requiring. Question 3 from Tough Tessie B. Silent reflux. Oh, this is a good one. That's what doctors told me based on a test with a wire up my nose and down the top of my throat. Ward overnight and treatment. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, you've got the mouth up here. The food tube is called the esophagus, and the food tube pierces the diaphragm. Now, the stomach is right underneath that diaphragm. So every time you breathe, that diaphragm should be moving. Now, the nerve that supplies the diaphragm comes out of the middle of the neck, C3, C4, C5. Now, this is hugely important because if you have a cervical problem, some past injury, and this past injury could have been 20, 30 years ago, and if you have compromised nerve supply to that diaphragm, then the top of the stomach is going to pooch up. Now, at the very bottom of the esophagus, on the top of the stomach, there's a muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter. And that's triggered to tighten up, to keep the acid inside of the stomach. And if that starts to pooch up through that diaphragm, it doesn't function as well. And also the presence of acid in the stomach will tighten up that lower esophageal sphincter. So silent reflux is a combination of compromised nerve supply to the diaphragm, and that's going to be a cervical problem. It could be the insertion of the diaphragm, which could mean a thoracic deviation. So you got to look at the entire structure, what the wire down the nose and down the throat. They're looking at the end result of a mechanical distortion or of a chronic stress state. And that physical stress of the neck is going to compromise the nerve supply to the diaphragm. And also, low stomach acid will loosen up that lower esophageal sphincter. And again, you're going to get that lack of function of that lower esophageal sphincter if you're drinking water with every meal. And I mean water during the meals. That's why we recommend no water a half hour before a meal, no water during a meal, no water a half hour after. If you need to have a beverage, make sure it's an acidic beverage, coffee, tea, wine, beer. Those are acidic, but I'd recommend you not diluting that stomach acid. And then correct the neck and also practice diaphragmatic breathing. When you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and your tummy should fill up with air. Your chest shouldn't be moving on deep inhalation. And this is to learn diaphragmatic breathing, because the more you use that diaphragm, you're going to help the lymph flow, you're going to help gut, you're going to help digestion, and you're going to strengthen that diaphragm to keep that stomach down below. You can also do the exercises we show in the Hiatal Hernia video, where you take your left fist, put it underneath your left side of the chest, breathe in, breathe out, and then push your hand in and pull that stomach down. And you do this about 3 or 4 times. Okay, the deep breathing and pulling it down, deep breathing and pulling it down, and then restore that curve in the neck. And then you're going to be solving the actual problem. And let me know how you're doing, because that is the cause and that is the solution. Question 4 from Disturb Bed Maynard. Would this be the same idea for paraesophageal hernia? Absolutely. I would like to really stay away from meds if I can help it. If you find any esophageal hernia that's from lack of medications, great. Let me know it. Because I've never seen a medication restore nerve supply or restore function. They're only going after symptoms. And most of the drugs that they're going to give are proton pump inhibitors or antacids. And what this does, it actually loosens the muscle on the bottom of the esophagus, on the top of the stomach, called the lower esophageal sphincter. And the studies show that by taking those medications, you actually increase esophageal cancers, because that stomach acid, which should be locked in the stomach, is now splashing up. So when you're looking at esophageal hernia, it means that that area is not functioning correctly. The nerve that supplies the diaphragm is the neck. The nerve that the breathing muscle, okay, the diaphragm, C3, C4, C5s. So you got to look at the cervical component. You have to look at the attachment of the diaphragm, and you have to look at the chronic state of stress, because the esophagus, the stomach, they're all under parasympathetic control. And we have this automatic nervous system, and you only have 2 switches, stress or regeneration. That regeneration is also called rest, digest, and repair. And the vagus nerve, which governs everything, that vagus nerve comes out at the top of the neck, and it goes down on the front and back of the esophagus coming down. So look specifically for upper cervical issues, because if there is a structural deviation of that vagus nerve is going to be responding to that by not functioning correctly. Okay, in any kind of stress is going to decrease blood supply to that area. And by restoring the mechanical, physical stress, look at the mechanical area, and look at the attachment of the diaphragm. Chemical stress is also going to activate that fight or flight system, decreasing blood supply there, and then decreasing the ability of that damaged tissue to heal. And then emotional stress can also be a contributing factor. So address those 3 stressors, but for sure, look at that upper cervical area. And then the esophagus can heal, because the esophagus is a muscular tube. The only reason it's going to herniate is because you have compromised blood supply or nerve supply to that area. Question 5 from Kathy Jennings. Can we take digestive helpers for our very hungry stomachs? Yeah, digestive enzymes are amazing. And you need to get a complete digestive enzymes that digest the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. So look at protease, lipase, amylase. And these digestive helpers are fantastic, but also address the underlying stressors, because when you're in any kind of stress, you have decreased blood supply and nerve supply to the digestive area. So you have got to look at this area and deal with the stressors, digestive enzymes, but also whole foods, real foods, stuff that your great-great-grandmother would look at. The real whole foods that aren't processed have metabolic and digestive enzymes. And to get over the edge, papaya is really good. Papaya zyme is really good. That's why they usually have papaya salads when I'm at the clinic in Bangkok with almost every meal, which is actually really, really good. But you need to have those little helpers if you're eating processed and packaged foods. But luckily, eating a whole food diet, dealing with the underlying stressors, and getting the prebiotics, probiotics to build the gut bacteria, then you're going to have healthy digestion. Now, if your question wasn't answered here, because I do have to self-censor, go to our website, drbvip.com, and then we can answer in greater detail. And that way I can answer uncensored because we still do have to censor. But God bless you all. These were fantastic questions. And please share this vital information. I have so many patients, and I'm talking over half, have digestive issues that they're not processing the nutrients correctly. So please share this information. God bless you all. The world was built for you, and you were built for the world.